Right, everybody, and welcome back to the 1% podcast. I'm joined by someone that I've seen like on and off, like things like that. But I was like, right, let's get a good conversation. The fact that I don't really know you is nice. So it's good. I'm joined by Harley Judge himself. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Not too bad. I think we're both feeling the same after legs. We're like, we should have timed this differently.
Bit brain dead. I've literally just nailed my post-workout quickly to jump on air, but yeah.
Cool. So this is, mate, just like a little insight, even for me, like, who are you, man? Like, who is Harley?
Yeah, we've seen each other in the gym quite a bit, and it's just never sort of, we've never gone into depth, really, like had a proper conversation. So yeah, it's the first time. Thanks for having me on. But yeah, so bit of background for me. How far back do you want me to go?
Hey, go to childhood. I've got time. Like,
all right. Okay. Well, obviously, if people follow me now, they'll know that I'm heavily involved with bodybuilding and the fitness industry. It's pretty much been that way since a young age, really. All the way through my teens, I was playing sports, like anything that you could imagine. I was playing badminton, I was playing cricket, I was playing football, I was boxing, I was doing motocross, like anything sport related, I was heavily involved with. And without sounding big-headed, I was pretty good at most things. Boxing was the main one that sort of took my fancy, and up until the age of like sort of 17, I was heavily involved with that. I boxed for county, and I think I had 4 fights, won 3, lost 1. And I thought that was going to be the way forward. And it got to like 16, and all of my mates were then started to join the gym. I don't know, is that the same age now? Do you have to be 16 to join the gym now?
I think you definitely see people in younger, don't you? Or maybe
that's what I thought.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know.
But, well, I'm going back 11 years now. So 11 years ago, you had to be 16 to join the gym. So as soon as my 16th birthday hit, I was like, right, I'm getting a gym membership. And I think from there, it sort of transitioned from boxing, because they're complete opposites, really. Like bodybuilding and like boxing, you don't necessarily need muscle mass to be a good boxer, do you? So as I got heavier, I got worse. So from there, I was like, okay, which do I enjoy more? So it was a case of then going down the route of the bodybuilding. And I mean, I wasn't very serious to start with. I was the typical lad that was going to the gym 5 times a week and then going out at the weekends. And it was pretty much that way for, I don't know, 5-6 years. It wasn't really until I was sort of like 22 that I then started to realize that I had quite a good physique, and I had the potential to go somewhere within the bodybuilding side of things. So from there, it was a local lad down the gym actually that said, look, I'll coach you for a competition. Let's do it. And I knew that I was already sort of built for it, because I'd shown discipline and like routine from a very young age, because within boxing, you have to show that, like it's like part and parcel of it. Do you know what I mean? So I think through my sort of like my later teen years, I definitely lacked something like that, because I didn't have anything that had like a bit of a purpose and a bit of a meaning and a goal that I needed to work towards. So when I then had this bodybuilding competition, I was 100%, like to the gram, like it still is now. Do you know what I mean? But like that shit like excited me, and I was like, I want to do this. So then, yeah, I was prepping for my first competition. I think it was 2017. I'd sort of, this is going to come out in a little bit of a funny order, but 2016, I'd been to Body Power a couple of years before. I entered a competition on Body Power website, and it was to spend the weekend with Gymshark. Now, I entered it, obviously, like people do, didn't think anything of it. And then it came to like a week before Body Power, and I got this email. And then I got tagged in something on Instagram, and it turns out I was one of 2 people to win this competition.
To
spend the weekend with Gymshark. And to start with, I didn't think it was real to start with. I thought it's a mix-up, like there's got to be somebody else or whatever. But no, I'd won this competition. So basically, I went to Gymshark. I went to Body Power with Gymshark 2016. I spent the whole weekend with Gymshark. I got to train with the athletes. Spending time with everybody that was there. And And then at the end of it, I thought, you know what, this is like lit something inside me that I really, really want to pursue this. At the time, like Ross Dickerson was there. There was obviously Lex that was there. Justin, who else was there that year?
That's like the OG. That's like the proper like Gymshark setup, isn't it?
Yeah, well, 2016 was their second to last year of doing the body power, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, after that, I sent them a really nice message. I sent it to Ben and was like, look, I've really enjoyed this weekend. Like, if there's any potential of anything of this going further, me working within the company or whatever, then just keep in touch. And I said I'd love to come back and work on the stand again next year. Lo and behold, 2017, I'd carried on bodybuilding throughout that year. And I was about 3 weeks out when I went to Body Power and was helping out on the stand. So I was in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was going really well. I was working on the stand, and that's when a spanner was thrown in the works, shall we say. So
yeah,
I was on the stand, and I was just managing the queues, and I think there was, what's his name? I always forget his name. Steve Cook. So I was managing. I think
I forgot his name. It's cool.
Sorry. But I was managing the queue for Steve Cook, and someone came over, and I thought they were pushing in. So originally, I just said to him, I was like, "Look, the queue's there. You're gonna have to join that one, or you're gonna have to join that one." They said, "Oh no, we were hoping to speak to you," and I was like, "Well, I'm not an athlete. I'm just working here." And it turns out they're from ITV. Oh. So yeah, so this is how my whole TV experience sort of came about. They took some details down from me, and I just said, at the time I didn't think anything of it, and I said, look, I'm busy this weekend, I'm working on here. If you want to have a chat, then give me a call next week. Well, they gave me a call next week.
Yeah.
Then invited me down to London to go for an interview, and I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose here, why not? So a long story short, there was a series of interviews that took place over a couple of weeks. And yeah, they eventually said that they wanted me to go on Love Island. So
because I didn't know that you did this until I followed you from like bodybuilding. So I didn't know you did this until I think it was an article got released when you were competing this time round.
Yeah.
And it popped up about ex Love Island turns bodybuilder or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that sort of that came about, and from what you've heard, it was very last minute. It was very out of the blue. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I had no experience with TV or cameras or anything like that before.
Yeah.
So it escalated very, very quickly. So I went on the show. I didn't do very well. I realized very quickly that they weren't my kind of people. That it wasn't something that I'd like to do again. So when I left in the first week, I was not surprised, to be honest. So yeah, from there, it completely changed my life. Yeah. You go from, I went in there and I think I had about 900 followers, and I came out, and when I turned my phone on, because you don't have your phone on there, I turned it on and I was up at like 50, 60K. And then from that, it just escalated very, very quickly over the next few months.
How did you, because this is the thing, it's like, kind of like roughly kind of getting to know you now, like you're definitely not that personality type. How did you feel like, because you're not like, I feel like you have to cause a bit of trouble on there, and like you have to be the TV, because you're very much, you just put your head down, you crack on with you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it was exactly that. And the best way that I can describe it is, if somebody tells me something in trust, like, I'm not going to go and tell somebody else if they tell me not to. Whereas on that show, if somebody tells you something, you'll then expect to go and tell every single other person in there. And that's probably where I went wrong, because I
didn't gossip well.
Yeah. And the thing is, it was a case of like, I didn't really know where I was at in my life. I just come off prep. Like, I was still on prep going into it. Like,
at least you look fucking sick. Like,
Jesus, I'm a bit heavier now, but Christ, yeah. I look back and I thought, oh, I was so young.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't regret the experience at all. Like, for a long time, I think I did, and I was like, oh, why have I done this? because when I came out, I effectively not wasted, but 2 years of my life were spent doing things that were not something that I necessarily enjoyed, and they were not getting me closer to where I'd originally set out to get to. So now, when I left, it was a year or so. I was spent partying, basically. Like, there's no other way to sugarcoat it. You are like, you're going to clubs, you're doing PAs, you're doing it like meet and greets all over the country and things like that. But at the time, you have to sort of look at it as, this is my income. This is the only way that I can earn money at the moment. And effectively, I was an influencer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not by choice, but that's just the way that it fell. And suddenly you've got brands that are throwing products at you and offering you money left, right, and center. And I did do it for a little while, and then I sort of realized that it wasn't for me. So I actually went back to my old job. Went back working on building sites, and within a month, like, I'd gone from being very, very unhappy to being a bit more happier and a bit more settled in normality again.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. I think that takes a lot of self-awareness, man. The fact that, because this, like, we live in a world now, like, both our jobs are online, and you're like, and that's what people desire now. They desire to have that influencer status. And the fact that you've almost like, it's almost going back to live with your parents again, isn't it, sort of thing?
Yeah.
But the fact that you, in order for you to be happy, you had to take that step back. And it's almost like quitting. I think people see quitting as a negative sometimes, but actually quitting something can be the best thing you've ever done. So fair play.
I was forced to grow up very, very quickly, because I was still only 22 at the time. And for someone that age who's come from a little place, because I don't come from like anywhere that's big. I used to live in Norwich, so everyone knows everyone there. It's very small and enclosed, and suddenly you've gone I could go anywhere in the UK and like somebody will know who you are. So I had to grow up very quickly and sort of adapt to the situation, because not everyone was very nice, and the old me would have probably retaliated. But like, in that situation, you sort of have to just bite your tongue and think, actually, no, like, I can't deal with this in the way that I would like to. But yeah, so from there, I worked back at my old job for a while. I'd actually had a period of time off the gym. So during that year off, it was very difficult for me to sort of find time to do the gym, because going out and drinking and partying and whatever else definitely didn't go hand in hand with the gym. I'd sort of managed to maintain something, but not something that I was proud of.
Yeah.
So when I got back on it, I think it was 2018, October 2018, I can remember. And I was like, that's it, I'm done. Like, that's me done. I don't want to go out anymore. And pretty much from then, I've had a solid run with bodybuilding. 2019, I jumped on prep again. I think it was like February or March time, and I did a show in April, which I came third. That was a UK BFF show. I did men's physique. And back then they called me out on stage for being too big for the class. But I mean, they then said, come back next week, come into the right category. This was with men's physique. I don't know if you know much about it, but they have UK BFF have men's physique, and then they have a muscular men's physique category, which is basically for anyone who doesn't really fit in there. Yeah. So the next week I then went back and did another show, and I ended up winning that one. I had a period of time over the summer where I didn't compete. I went to Thailand, spent a month there. I was actually doing CrossFit in Thailand. So I'd gone from bodybuilding to spending a month in Thailand at a CrossFit gym. And I was this close to sacking off bodybuilding for CrossFit.
Hey, but you know what's good though? But also, like, things like that are good, especially when it comes down to like coaching, right? So it's like, you're going to get people that want some of it, and at least you're like, well, I've got a baseline knowledge or a decent amount of CrossFit knowledge to be like, right, let's just chuck this into a plan for someone that's looking for that hybrid approach. That's good, man. I think it's important to do stuff like that.
And do you know what? It was probably for my size, because I wasn't the smallest. I was probably still 85 kilos, and I was fit. Within a month, how much my body sort of changed and adapted to the different style of training was just mad. Like I was running, I was obviously doing all the activities, I was doing spin classes. Like sometimes I was doing like 2 or 3 classes a day. If you asked me to do that now, I'd struggle to do one. But yeah, it came to September and I was like, I almost stayed out there in Thailand. I was like, I either go back and start prep for the British finals, which is in October, or I stay out here and just enjoy it basically. Because at the time I was still I was working online. I'd had a few online clients, enough to sort of like get by. And I hadn't really pushed it that hard because I was still unsure as whether it was something that I wanted to do. And there's always that sort of doubt in your mind as to whether you're going to be good at it and whether people are going to be wanting coached by you. Because I'm still baffled by it now. I think, why me? Like, do you know what I mean? Like somebody genuinely looks up to me and values me as a coach, which I take pride in, and it makes me very, very happy. But again, it's like sort of a shock, isn't it?
I think, yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, because I think I probably paid more attention to you, I guess, over the last, I don't know, like last 6 months to a year, maybe, sort of thing. Yeah. But I think it's definitely clear of what it's very obvious from your platforms and things like that you are very inspired, like very inspired and very just like robotic. And in it, like people see robotic as a negative. I'm like, that's probably the biggest compliment that most people can get. But you're very passionate and driven now. Like, and that's shown, especially throughout that prep. And I was like, well into this prep that you've done in the States and stuff like that. And it just goes to show.
Yeah, I think as well, like when I disconnected myself from the whole TV experience, which I felt like I had to do that. It was part of my life that had been and gone, and there was a new person. And I think this is where some people get a little bit lost, and they're a sheep and they get stuck in their own ways, and they feel like they can't recreate themselves, or they can't have a second chance.
Yeah,
but you definitely can. Like at any point, like all it takes is a few days to a week to be a completely different person. You could have gone out last weekend and got absolutely hammered, but by the next Friday, you could be in a completely different mindset, and that could continue on for as long as you want, if you want it to.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there, because I think I could break your life into like 3 sections. You went from like the boxer to the influencer to the bodybuilder sort of thing. Yeah. And I think it's, especially at those age groups, it's very easy to think this defines me. I found that in my last sport. Yeah. I was like, I'm known for this. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you decide to pack in bodybuilding tomorrow, you're like, oh, like, this is a big deal. But also that's not, bodybuilding isn't defining you. It's just Harley's Harley. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it could, if I erased Instagram and everything like that, I could start afresh and I could live whatever life that I wanted to.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy. And I think I'd like not realized how easily and how much better I was going to feel when I actually did that. And until I sort of actually made that transition, that's when I truly became happy, because I was like, then pursuing something that I enjoyed. And don't get me wrong, it's not been easy at all, because a lot of people think, yes, you've got a lot of followers and you've got a platform to build on, but I had the followers for the wrong reasons. Like people were following me because of a TV program that I'd been on. They don't follow me because I'm a bodybuilder. Like, so I lose a lot of followers, but I gain valuable ones, which to me, I'd rather lose 100 people that are no longer interested in what I'm doing and gain 50 people that are. Like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing this for. Like, I do want to inspire people. I want to help as many people as possible, and just be honest as well. Because I think when I came off TV, you have to filter what you say and things like that, and it's because you're appealing to such a big audience. And I lost myself a little bit because I felt like I wasn't able to do that. So when I broke that barrier down, I was like, do you know what? I'm going to have that fuck it attitude, and I'm just going to say and do what I want. And since then, I've been so much happier.
Yeah, I love that, because it's very easy to look in on, like if anyone looks at your life right now, they're like, well, he's set, like, he's got a lovely girlfriend, they've got a nice apartment, nice little family set up with a dog now, they live in Dubai, he trains, he works from home. It's very easy to look at someone's life at like that iceberg thing, right? So look, oh, he's here, but they haven't seen like actually all the discomfort that you've gone through. Be like, I've gone X amount of years on this TV person that's not truly me. And they don't see that, I guess, just like you said, the unhappiness and like the fulfillment every day.
Yeah. And I think as well, because of social media now, like a lot of people are afraid to speak out about like past experience and things like that. Whereas if I can speak out about my experience and it's going to help somebody, because I was actually having a conversation with somebody in the gym the other day who also has been on Love Island. Now, I don't want to throw his name in there in case he doesn't want me to, but it's Anton. And I've never spoken to him before. And it can go either way, because people on the show, some people are very, very talkative and they'll have a conversation with you. Other people, they just walk straight past you. But he actually pulled me to one side in the gym and we had a chat, and he's a really nice lad. And he's actually now going through the same sort of thing that I did. So to have like a chat with him and almost a similar conversation to what me and you are having now, and just explain to him how I transitioned. And that's exactly what he's doing now. He's going back to what he enjoys, because that's both where we started. He was heavily involved with the fitness as well. I was heavily involved with the fitness, although there was a couple of years in between where like you lost it a little bit. You still go back to what you enjoy, because otherwise you're going to live a miserable life, aren't you?
It's amazing how fitness kind of grounds everyone as well. Yeah. It's that level playing field where that's what I did when I was kind of 16, starting boxing, things like that. And you kind of just go back to that. You're like, well, that gives me security again. And it's like training for you. It's like, you cannot like rest days and training days. Like on rest days, like, okay, what do I do for 3 hours out of the day? Like it's that itchy kind of thing. Almost like it's bad, but it kind of, the gym is your thing. Like it generally is. So it's actually just like, it is something that brings everyone together.
Yeah. And I think especially when we sort of made the move over here, like the industry here is just massive. Like I'd never even contemplated coming to Dubai, and the only reason we sort of came here was last year. It was the same reason that everybody else did, really. We were like, I'll go back a little bit, because obviously there's a little bit more to it. So
go for it.
I met Lauren in the January of 2020, and
last year or the year before? No, last year.
Last year, yeah. So was it 2020? Yeah, it was.
She's gonna have to reconfirm that. She'll put it in the comments.
Is it 20? Yeah, because it'll be our 2-year anniversary in March. So okay. I was just trying to so I met Lauren in the January of 2020. And then we then started getting together. And then lockdown hit. She came to mine for a week. We then it was her show got cancelled because she was actually due to compete as well. It got cancelled because of COVID. And it was on a Sunday. It was Mother's Day. And Lauren was like, "Oh, do you want to come up to mine? It's looking like we're going to be in lockdown for a couple of weeks, but do you want to
that escalated, didn't it? Fucking hell.
Yeah. Do you want to come up? Do you want to come up to Manchester?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" So we hopped in the car, drove up there. I met Lauren's mum and dad, and lockdown was a little bit longer than we expected, and I was there for 17 weeks.
So that's a really interesting thing. So like, obviously you guys didn't really know each other massively, like what, 4 months into a relationship, and then how was that? Because lockdown either made a relationship, or it obviously made yours, or it killed it.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And I think it definitely made our relationship 100%, but because we were in lockdown, we probably lost a lot of that things that go on at the beginning of a relationship, like how things escalate. We'd obviously been on a few dates and stuff like that, but it sort of, we'd missed out on the progressing stage where you go on dates and then you think, oh, we're going to go on our first holiday and things like that. So that's sort of, we missed that part, which we're still getting like them times back now, which is good, because effectively we've not actually had a holiday together. Like I wouldn't class Dubai. Dubai was supposed to be a holiday, but it didn't turn into one.
It's a really interesting relationship, to be fair, because like it's mind blowing, is it? Because I've just seen it from because obviously it's gone from she's on prep, lockdown together, then you've in a sense you've gone through the whole awkward stages of last year in general, back and forth lockdowns. Then you started prep. Then you're traveling the world because of your prep, and she's been fucking phenomenal with that, like generally, which is and now, do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you still haven't had that like romantic stage of the relationship, which is good because it's almost like you bypassed it, but now you get to live it again. I love that. It's cool. No, it's interesting.
So it came to like September, and Lauren had already got a house going through, so got the keys to that. We then started renovating the house from September till December. We moved in beginning of December, like I think it was the first or second week in December. And then once we moved in, it was like, oh, we've had a very, very tough year. Like, because our online businesses have grown so much, everyone was obviously forced online. Excuse me. Everything was forced online. So within the year, we were working all hours. Like, no, I don't think, probably yourself as well, but no one could have imagined how quickly things grew last year. If you were on it and you wanted your business to grow, it was the best year to do that.
Yeah, 100%. How have you? So what was? So kind of, because there is a question on Dubai, so like I'll bring it up in a bit. But what was the? Did you come in November in the second lockdown?
No, so we moved into the house first or second week of December. We spent 2 weeks there, and it was getting to that point where we were like, we need to get away. We need a break. Like, we've been working exceptionally hard this year. Where can we go? Because at this point, I'd been on prep since August at this point. So I'd renovated the house while on prep. I'd been growing the business. Lauren had obviously been supporting me on prep, growing her business, helping with the renovation of the house as well. And it got to November, and I actually pulled my prep because obviously everything that was going on with COVID.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the shows were going ahead, but I couldn't even get Lauren a ticket. And I was like, I know I'm not knocking on the door of a pro card here. I'm purely doing this for enjoyment, to get some feedback from the judges. And the enjoyment factor was going to be taken away if I couldn't have anyone come and watch. So ended the prep there. And yeah, it was around just before Christmas. And we were like, where can we go where the gyms are open? Because at this stage, we were getting up at 4:30 every morning and driving to a gym that was allowing us to use it within a certain hours. So we had to be there before sunrise, basically. So every day we were up in the cold, driving to the gym at like 5 a.m. just so we could train. And yeah, we decided that we were going to look to go abroad, and we'd seen that a few people were over here. The gyms were open, although you had to wear masks. There was no sort of lockdown going on. So we booked flights, and we were due to come out on the 1st of January, but there was still talks of another lockdown taking place, which then got brought forward in the UK to like the 30th of December, I think it was. So we ended up changing our flights, bringing them forward, and we were on one of the last flights out to Dubai before they.
When did you actually fly?
30th of December we flew.
Did you? We probably were on the same flight. I moved out on the 30th and landed on the 1st or the 31st and moved here on the 1st. Yeah.
Oh no! Well, we flew from Manchester, so we'd have been sort of on the same day, but not.
Yeah.
And then. Yeah, we didn't book a return ticket, but we'd said to each other, we'll go for a month. Everything in the UK will sort of be picking up back like after that, and we'll be out of lockdown, and we'll be able to come back and go to the gym. Well, obviously that kept getting extended, and we were in Dubai for 6 months.
Fuck, Jesus! Is that how long it was that first time? Holy shit!
Yeah. And we didn't realize how long it actually was. It obviously flew, and we had the best time, which is why we're obviously back. But we didn't realize until we looked back and were like, Jesus, we were actually there for like half a year.
I thought you were here for way less as well. It just goes how quickly it actually went. I was like, shit, man.
Yeah. So then obviously we came. We then had to work out how we were going to get back to the UK. We then spent 2 weeks in Mykonos. Then went back to the UK, and we had a weekend off, and I started prep we had 2 days off, and then I went straight into a 15-week prep for competitions this year.
And then what was, so obviously that kind of comes into it. Like, what was the goal this year for you for prep as well?
I'll be honest, like I had the intentions of going for my pro card this year. I really, really did. Like the off season I had last year in Dubai was just insane. Like I think that was the first time that I'd sort of realized that actually I could get to where I want to be a lot sooner than I think.
Yeah.
So then when I started prep, everything was going very, very well. And like hands down, I loved every second of prep. Like I really did. Although I was in the UK and wanted to be back here, every day there was just a buzz about getting up and getting out and doing everything and just being in a routine. Like I really, really did enjoy it. And that sort of showed in my physique. I was
100%.
looking fresh. Like everything was just running so smoothly. And when we went to Poland, it was hands down the best package that I'd bought. And I think obviously then we came out here for another 3 weeks. In between, we were actually, because the way that things fell with the COVID restrictions, we were going to do Poland. And if I didn't get my pro card in Poland, we were then going to go to Italy. But Italy was like 2 or 3 weeks after. But if we left Poland and went back to the UK, we'd have to isolate and do day 2, day 8 for potentially 10 days to then fly back out to Italy. So to us, it made no sense to sort of go back to the UK. So we were looking at flights to Marbella, and it was actually, we were sitting there and it was on show day actually. And we were like, we're due to fly in 2 days' time, and we don't know where we're going. Like, where are we going to go? And my coach Josh was like, we were looking at Marbella, and to get to Marbella from Poland was just a pain in the arse. Like, although in distance it's only a couple of hours, but there was no direct flights. So it was looking like, we had to stop off somewhere else to go there. Yeah. And in the end, it was my coach Josh. He was like, sat there and he goes, well, why don't you look at Dubai? And we hadn't even contemplated this, even though we'd been there. So we looked at Dubai, and it was a 5-hour flight. Cheaps were half the price of what they were to Marbella, and we were like, done. It's done. We're going. So we came back here for 3 weeks while I sort of worked out what we were going to do. Every intention of doing Italy. So we booked flights from Dubai to Italy.
Yeah.
And then I was speaking to a few friends over here, Kate and Connor, Darren and Bex, and they were all doing an American show, the Amateur Olympia in Florida. So I'd never even contemplated this. I've never been to America before in my life, and somebody had mentioned it before and was like, your physique would be really, really suited and competitive in America. So I thought it crossed my mind, and in the end we were like, if everybody else is going there, if people have had a second opinion and said that I'm going to be more suited to America, then we're going to go. Yeah. So ended up.
I was going to say, it's funny you say that as well, like comparing, because America does have a different look, doesn't it? Or they go for a different look compared to a European. And it is true. If you look at your physique, I think it's very dense, like very dense and thick, your physique. Like, and I think that is, and it's almost like the mass look. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, like you said here, it's like men's physique, you're not going to get, they're here, they're looking for that aesthetic still and things like that. Like you said, even when you were 4 years ago, right? Like you got marked down for it. So I'm like, you're definitely gonna get marked down for it now. Like,
I think in Poland, that was probably why, like I'd never, obviously I was disappointed with the placing. I ended up coming 4th, and I thought I was definite top 3. But again, I stuck out there for the wrong reasons. I tried to get some feedback from the judges, and they were pretty brutal, to be honest. One of the females, especially, I messaged her on Instagram, and her reply was, "We didn't like your posing. You've got no chest. You've got a weak back." And I was like, "Sorry." I was like, "Sorry." And I was thinking, Christ, I was like, the posing was probably one of the things that I was most happy with. Yeah. And everybody else had said that it was actually very, very good. So, I
think you just asked her on the wrong day, mate.
Well, I don't know. But so with that, I think, I just stuck out in Poland for the wrong reasons. Like, it was my best condition today. And I'm very, very happy with the package that I bought. Against some different competitors, it might have come a little bit different, but it's who turns up on the day. And on the day, obviously I didn't fare up very well against them, which is fine. Take it on the chin. I took the advice on board, and although we had a short space of time, it was 4 weeks in between that and America, and we managed. I was nearly 2 kilos up in stage weight from Poland to America. They told me to come in fuller, which I did. I probably sacrificed a little bit of condition, if I'm being honest. I wasn't as peeled as I was in Poland, but that was again sort of trying to adapt to what they look for in America, because they do like that big fuller package and
that poppier look.
Yeah, and I think that's the trouble. Was there was people in America that had that look but were peeled. So
yeah.
I remember being backstage and people had said to me before we'd gone there, like, this is going to be a very, very quiet show. You definitely stand a chance because it's midweek. The Americans can't really get time off and they're all saving it for Christmas. And I was like, all right, yeah. So headed over there. Probably one of the biggest shows I could have possibly picked.
Like, which show did you actually do in the end?
Amateur Olympia in Florida.
Did you? Oh, sick.
Yeah. What was it? Orlando, sorry, not Florida. Orlando. So it was the same venue as the actual Olympia this year. I think. Yeah. So the show was absolutely packed across all classes. Like it was ridiculous. I think there was 30 people in my height class and 130 people in the whole category that were going for 3 pro cards.
Fucking hell, Jesus Christ.
And it was mad. I was standing backstage and there was it was like crowds of people. And I stood there and I was obviously still confident with the package that we bought, and I'm never going to go into something without thinking that I stand a chance, but I did have to adjust my expectations. I stood there and I was like, there's probably 10 people that I can look at here that are better than me. Not necessarily in condition or muscle mass, but they are more suited to the category. Like they had the very, very small waist. They had the big wide shoulders, the big lats. And I, like you say, I'm very, very dense. So they were either going to like my look or they weren't. And to be fair, I came away from that very, very chuffed with the 2 shows that I'd done. America, I was very happy with the package that we bought, and again, I think that was probably my best package today. If I could have had a combination of somewhere in between the 2, it would have been absolutely perfect. But yeah, I was really happy with how things went this year. It's just that now I'm in a position where I'm probably going to be more suited to a different category. Like, for me, as we've talked about throughout this whole thing, like I'm very, very passionate about training. I absolutely love it. And for me to stay in men's physique, I was going to have to sacrifice the training side of things, because I'd have to limit what I was able to train. Like I wasn't able to train arms on prep because they're like one of my standout features, but I don't have to do anything. I'm just very, very lucky that they grow without having to do anything. So I didn't train them. But now I'm obviously transitioning to a bodybuilding category. I've got free reign. I can take the reins off and just do whatever I want now.
And I think that's the nice thing. It's just even for me watching kind of over the last, to be fair, we could say 6 months really, is that's the reason why like I messaged you. I'm like, because you've definitely done that. It's the 1% of things, and it's that you've definitely done that. You've just day in, day out, you've chipped away, and it's just how your mindset's been and how that your life's reflected it and how honest you've been. And it's showing 100%. It's showing in your physique. It's showing in business, life, everything like that. So honestly, like watching your prep this year has been fucking great. And like what's good is that you follow through with it, because you watch a lot of people and things like that. And I'm doing the show and like, they just pull out. And I'm like, okay, everyone has their reasons. I fully understand. I get that. Yeah. But you were like, you could have just think, oh, Italy's not happening. Fuck this. But then you're like, well, no, fuck this. I'm going to like fly across the world and try something completely different. Do it in the States was a whole different ball game. And like, it's respect to anyone that's willing to pack up their bags and do that. Like,
do you know what? It's probably the happiest and most content that I've been with my life and the way that things are going at the moment. Like we all strive to be better, and things are heading in the right direction, and we always strive to want more. But like where I'm at now, like I'm very, very happy with everything and the way that things are going in my life. And I think that is a product of decisions that I've made years ago. And this is the thing that people lack. Like they do expect things to happen overnight, but it is not as easy as that. And as we said earlier, like people don't see the shit and the things that you've had to go through years ago to get to where you are now. They just see it for face value, don't they?
100%. Oh, 100%, mate. 100%. That's the thing. Right. Whilst we're on that topic, let me get up some of these questions because some of them are actually very similar related.
Right.
There you go. Whilst we're on it, 2022 goals, bodybuilding, business, and life. So goals for life, everything.
Yeah. So, as we've obviously said, I'm transitioning to bodybuilding. Whether I'll be competing next year, I don't know. It's going to depend how well this off season goes. At the moment, we're 6 weeks post show and it's going very, very well. So we'll see where we're at in 6 to 9 months' time. If we were to prep, it would be probably back end of next year.
Sick. And then business and life.
Business. So me and Lauren have just started with a business mentor as of yesterday. So we are going with Elliot Wise and his team. Yeah, is that who you're with?
No, I know Josh really well. I had a week in Marbella with him. Yeah.
Obviously we spoke to Josh yesterday. And the reason being for that is I've got a lot of life experience. I am actually quite knowledgeable in certain subjects, but I'm not the best at sort of getting that across on social media. I'm very, very good with my clients and stuff like that, but I obviously want to be able to help as many people as possible and express that like on a much further field. Do you know what I mean? So they're going to help me in that aspect of growing my confidence, I suppose, and also growing the business as a whole. So the same with Lauren, really. That's what we need it for. And I work much better with having things to do, so like to-do lists. Yeah. If I write something down and I can sit there and I can tick it off, that works perfectly for me. So for somebody to set me tasks, I'm much happier doing that than I am sort of left to my own devices. Because if not, I'll just sit there and I'll probably end up doing fuck all because I'm sat there like, where do I start kind of thing.
It's that typical thing, man. It's like accountability. It's the right reason you have a coach, right? For anything. Exactly. It's like, oh shit, I better rock up, better check in, all this sort of stuff. So simple. And then I guess like bodybuilding and business is your life, but kind of like, I guess like, where do you see, because obviously you've moved here, like what's life looking like for you at the moment?
Yeah, so we've got 6 month lease on the property here. We've still got the house in the UK. I've still got a car in the UK. Obviously, our families are still there as well. We've tried to be very sensible and make an adult decision with this. We're not sure if we want to settle in Dubai, in all honesty. Like, until we're 100%, we didn't want to sort of cut off our nose to spite our face in the UK. Do you know what I mean? So we've still got the option to go home if we want to. We'll see how this 6 months goes, because you don't really know. Like, things can change so quickly. So until we're like 100% on where we want to settle, then we're just going to leave our options open.
Yeah, it's like saying like, oh, where do you want to be in six months time? Like, bro, I might not be here. Like, who knows? I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing every day and try and do it a little bit better. That's literally it. So it's cool, man. And then best things about Dubai.
Okay, so obviously we
just get a list ready.
Yeah. There's a lot of pros to being in Dubai. Like, one, the fact that you can wake up, the first thing that springs to my head is you can wake up in the morning, you can open the curtains and know that it's not going to be pissing down with rain.
So true.
If there's rain in Dubai, it's because they've wanted it to rain with the whole cloud seeding thing. Do you know what I mean? And with that, it's sort of like, Jesus, there's rain on the floor kind of thing, rather than like waking up and going, it's raining again.
Yeah.
So that's probably the from first thing in the morning. Obviously the networking and the social side of things here are very, very good as well. Like, it is filled with like-minded people. If you go to there's several good gyms here, but if you go to, say, the one that we go to, if you go to Benoos, you're going to be bumping into or seeing people within the fitness industry that are very, very advanced and higher up than you, which is very, very inspiring. But the thing is as well, it's good to network and like we are now, basically, and interact with people that are on the same sort of shit as you.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the thing with Dubai, isn't it? It's like it's nothing fancy. It's just like, especially for like people like us, so we're very routine and habit. Right, I'm gonna get my coffee. It's gonna be walk. I'm gonna put my slippers on and go for a stroll. And then I know that, like you say, when you walk into that gym, you're like, it's like a kid in a candy shop, isn't it? It's like, and also you think it's that moment as well. You're like, fuck, I actually deserve to be here, sort of thing. Because it's one of those. It's one of the, and then you just know the environment. And like you said, it's always people that are more successful or better or bigger, whatever it is. And it is inspiring, but you have to have the right mindset here as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that was something that we grasped very, very quickly. If you come over here and you're trying to live the party lifestyle, you will be skinned very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, you can enjoy yourself and there's ways to go about things. But if you're coming out here for an extended period of time looking to just party, make sure you're bringing a very, very deep wallet.
Yeah, I came out in the November and I had 2.5 weeks and I spent $4,000 and I was like,
honestly,
fuck.
it's like, yeah,
it's so bad.
It is so easy to spend money here. But then at the same time, like, you pick things up as you go, don't you? Like, like where to shop, like where to go out and eat, and the social side of things. Again, like we do like going out and socializing. We'll have an off-plan meal once or twice a week, but also the fact that you're not forced to drink here. I think in the UK, you're very, very limited to activities and not necessarily what's available, but what people want to do. Like, if I phoned my mates and I'd be like, what are you doing this weekend? I know for a fact they'll be going out at some point this weekend. And once I'd sort of not wanted, or once I didn't want to do that anymore, I was very almost singled out as to what I wanted to do. Whereas here, your options for things that don't involve alcohol are massive. Like, it's just a case of, like, people will be like, do you want to go and get a coffee? Do you want to go for shisha? Do you want to go out for a bite to eat? And that's sort of, to me, that's what I enjoy more now.
That's more your personality. Yeah.
And I do, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like teetotal, because we went to a brunch on Friday and we probably will go out, but when prep's on, it's prep's on. But in the off season, if we want to go out maybe once a month or whatever, or for an occasion, then we will.
I think that's the thing as well. It's your environment, isn't it? Because you surround yourself with people that also want to do the same things. They're like, well, actually, we got to say, let's just go to the mall, have a coffee, have a shop. Or like you said, just let's go to a beach club for an afternoon and chill. Because if you ask, like, because of the environment people here, no one drinks, really. No one does it. So it's like, I'd rather just go out and eat and the alcohol things that fucks you up here because it's expensive.
Oh, it's so expensive. Like, and then there's the two things. You either go out, if you go out for a casual few drinks, you'll spend more than if you go to an unlimited drinking for 4 hours brunch. But then if you go to the unlimited drinking 4 hours for brunch, then you're expecting to get very, very drunk.
Yeah. I always think that with trains, always a good example. Like, what is it, 250 for like a day? That's your gym. That's pretty much like 4 to 5 meals and a whole day at a beach club. And I'm like, for 40 quid.
Exactly.
Find somewhere in the UK that you can do that.
Nah, you can't. And that is, we've had a couple of very good days there. And the thing is, although you're at a beach club, it's more like, you're not, a few people are drinking, but the majority of people aren't there. Are they? They're just having a good time, and you're having your sensible food. Like, the meals on offer there are very, very good. They'll even weigh out your prep food, won't they? They'll weigh out what you want. So to be able to go and do something like that without feeling like you're going off track is obviously very, very nice for people in our situation.
100%. And then the last kind of big one: favorite thing about bodybuilding and the least favorite thing.
Oh. Do you mean like for me personally, like what do I enjoy the most?
Yeah, your favorite thing and your least favorite thing.
I think the sort of pushing my body to places that it's never been before within so many aspects of it. You're dieting down to like minimal food. Although at the time you're thinking this is shit, at the same time you're like, I fucking love this. Like, I'm starving myself, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And then it's the same with like building muscle. It's like, how far can I take this? Like, and hitting PBs. Like, there's so many aspects of it that I do really, really enjoy. Like, as a whole, like the whole training side of things and the dieting side of things, like that does just that is what it's about for me. And it's a lifestyle, isn't it? It's my life now.
Yeah.
So with that, I think the hardest one is going to be the negative. Like, what do I like the least about it? I guess I think this is very apparent at like Benus and some of the other gyms here. It's like people thinking that they are better or like more worthy than other people, and it's like, I might not speak to people in the gym, but that's because I'm training. But if someone came over to me and have a conversation, I'd take time out of my session to stand and have a conversation with them. Whereas in there, it's like people are just giving you dagger eyes. They won't even say hello. Like, there's no sort of gym etiquette whatsoever.
Yeah, it's true though, because like we like actually there's a bunch that train all at the same sort of time. But I've spoke to you like once or twice, but otherwise it's just kind of train, and then you kind of just, that's that moment where you kind of all like, if it happens, like jump in, have a conversation, but otherwise it's just head down. But you do get that vibe 100%.
Yeah, and I think with us, I think we know that it's a case of we're just training. We don't dislike each other, and we're not willing to have a conversation. It's just we're both just training. Like, whereas some of the other people in there, it's literally like they look at you like you're a piece of shit, basically.
Yeah.
And
I think that's any gym, isn't it, as well? I remember, I guess as well, you could say the same thing, like, oh, fitness and social media now. I'm like, yeah, I get it 100%. But I'm also like, I got blocked from Instagram for like, I think like 5 days because I unfollowed too many people too quickly.
No way.
Apparently you can only do 250. And I was just like,
really?
Fuck off. And like, yeah. But honestly, I'm like, but just don't get involved with those people then.
Yeah. And that is the hardest thing there, because you almost get drawn into it. And it's like, hold on, like that's not the kind of, if someone stares at you wrong, you're tempted to like stare back. And I'm like, now I'm more tempted to just smile.
Yeah.
And I think that they're more confused than anything. If someone's staring at you, you literally just pop a smile at them. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And also it's like, you're very much like this. It's just like, I haven't got time for any of this. Like I've got my own life. I've got my own things going on. I'm like, I just crack on and do you, bud. If you're so worried about my life, I'm like, thank you so much for giving a shit.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
So
and you just like you literally, you do just have to just focus on yourself. And I think there is a lot of good people out here, and you can pick and choose who you sort of who you want to associate with, and that's what it's all about. If someone doesn't want anything to do with you, then don't force it.
Perfect. Way easier. That's cool. No, honestly, mate, it's been really nice just to kind of just pick your brain and just like get to know you. So it's been awesome, man.
I've been wanting to do it for a while, so like, thank you for having me on. Like, you're the first person that's asked, so you've had the raw content. So
perfect. But no, if you could give one piece of advice to someone to take them 1% further forward tomorrow, what would it be?
So like, it's gonna be about risks. You're gonna have to, like, if you're sitting there and there's some sort of like, you've got not a bit of doubt, but you're wanting to do something and you're doubting it, just fucking go for it. What's the worst that can happen, right? You go and try something new. So say, we'll use a job as an example, right? You're stuck in a dead end job. You absolutely hate it. So you'll turn up to work every day and you're really, really dreading it. There's something that you want to do and you're unsure as to whether it's going to work out. If you're in a financial position to go and try something new, go and try it. If that doesn't work out, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to end up back where you were before that. So you're no worse off.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, is listen to your gut and just go for it.
Yeah.
It's like you said, like,
9 times out of 10, it's gonna pay off in one. If it doesn't work out, at least you've had a life lesson. You say, do you know what? I tried it and it didn't work out, or I didn't enjoy it. And then you think of something new. Like, that's the way that it works. You've got to keep thinking ahead and how you can bring yourself the best person.
Because if I said like to you, it's like, well, I think I probably know your biggest fear. It's like, if you're in the same position in 6 months' time, that would be your biggest fear. Because imagine if your physique looked exactly the same next year.
And the thing is, like, I don't even question that anymore.
No,
like,
it's
you
just
get
not
to a point, it doesn't even come into like your brain anymore. Like, it's not part of the way that you think. You're already thinking about where you're going, not where you've been.
Yeah.
You're like, it's good to remind yourself where you've been, but at the same time, you're thinking, right,
What's next?
that's the direction we're going in. We're not going that way.
No, absolutely amazing, mate. No, brilliant. And where can people find you if they want to stalk you or do whatever they want to do?
So I've got a YouTube channel that has been a bit dead since prep, but it's Harley Judge on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, which is Harley_Judge. Anyone's got any questions, fire them over. Thanks for having us on.
I'll put all your stuff in the stuff below, whatever it is. That's cool. But no, absolutely amazing to have you on, bud. And I'll probably see you in the gym tomorrow. So that's fine.
You will. Thank you very much.